It's time for me to admit that I was wrong about Aquaman 2. Hey y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. I'm not making this video so much because I want to apologize, because I'm never going to apologize for being wrong. That's just part of being a woman.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I'm kidding! Don't get all mad at me. I'm allowed to make these jokes. Anyway, I just need to talk about how absolutely insane this is. So let's keep the comments civil. There's no need for, I told you so. There's no need for any of that. We just need to analyze numbers here because this is crazy. So Aquaman 2 released in December of 2023, and it released to basically like a dead internet. It released to a bunch of people who hate Amber Heard, who didn't really care to watch the sequel to Aquaman 1, who really didn't even like Aquaman 1, people who knew that the DCEU was dead and therefore didn't feel the need to watch Aquaman 2. I mean, sure, there were people that were hyping it up, but a lot of the internet, a lot of like Reddit, Twitter, and Instagram, all the toxic places that I normally inhabit, really didn't have any hype left for this movie. And I made more than a couple of videos about audience reception to Aquaman 2, and honestly, most of the reviews were not spectacular. Even though it has an 80-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, it only has about 3 stars on Google because there's a ton of 1-star reviews out there for this movie. And box office-wise, it did get off to a pretty slow and depressing start. And yet, Aquaman has broken some records for DC, and we're gonna get into that right now. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom hit $396 million globally because it keeps on raking in money at the international box office. And that might not sound like much considering big box office superhero movies, but considering DC's performance recently, $396 million is actually amazing. Not only did it just beat out Black Adam, which only made $393.3 million, but Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is now the highest grossing DCEU movie released since, drumroll please, the first Aquaman in 2018. Now, to avoid any confusion, this of course does not include any box office earnings by The Batman, which made over $770 million, nor does it include Joker, which in 2019 made over $1 billion. This only includes DCEU movies. But this is absolutely insane. To put this into context, the first Aquaman film made over $1 billion in 2018. $1 billion that I really did not think were all that well earned because I've never liked the first Aquaman movie, but that's just me. And between the release of Aquaman 1 in 2018 and the release of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom in late 2023, there were 8 DCEU releases. That's right, 8, and none of them managed to make as much money as Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has made. Let's go over the list, shall we? After the first Aquaman in 2018, we had Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, The Suicide Squad, Black Adam, Shazam Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and Blue Beetle. And none of those managed to beat out the eventual box office numbers that Aquaman 2 would bring in. Need I remind you, Aquaman 2, the one that had all the drama surrounding Amber Heard, who in Johnny Depp's bed. The one that nobody really cared to see because it was basically after the reboot point for the DCEU, so it had no ongoing connection to any future movies, and yet it's made even more money than Black Adam, which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was sure was going to break the internet and break records. I am just genuinely astounded because if there was one movie that I thought was going to be a tremendous DCEU failure, it was Aquaman 2. And Aquaman 2 have been the ones to rule them all. Sadly for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the film does end up going to streaming this week, which means we're unlikely to see any more real global box office numbers. And that also means that it's not going to beat one of Marvel's bigger failures last year, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That one brought in $476 million. To be honest, I really hated that movie enough that I would have been more than happy to see Aquaman 2 beat it money-wise. It's definitely not gonna happen, but it really is a true testament to the star power of Jason Momoa. I mean, Aquaman isn't even all that relevant a character in the Justice League, and yet it beat The Flash and like everything else. Honestly, I'm just astounded. I'm astounded. Everybody that worked on Aquaman 2 should give themselves a round of applause. And because this is such an insane story, I have never been more happy to come on here and say that I was wrong. Not because I was rooting for Aquaman 2, but because I would rather be wrong about something that was just outright insane than something that I was wrong because I was just being a silly goose. That's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram. And if you'd like to support this channel while getting access to exclusive photo shoot sets in the process, check out and subscribe to my Patreon. It would really help me out. I'll add links to both of those in the description below. And let me know your thoughts about Aquaman's box office success in the comments below.